Welcome to the family with
Co-host Catherine Brandt.
And Andy Barnard.
Kostaki will join us, what, in about 10 minutes, something like that?
Something like that.
Somewhere in there. I'm glad to hear that. I just saw a couple of stories that I find to be rather interesting. Do you see that Jelly Roll is being bitched at because he shook Donald Trump's hand, and everybody said, I never knew that you were a Trump supporter, and I'll never listen to you again. He said, I'm not supporting anyone. The guy came up, wanted to shake my hand. He's elected president of the United States, so I shook his hand. And they said, I suppose you voted for him, too. And Jelly Roll had to reveal to the public, well, I can guarantee I didn't vote for him because I'm a felon, and therefore I can never vote again.
Well, there you go.
So he had to tell people he was a convicted felon and cannot vote. When are people going to get up? First of all, what was the total again? The total votes, like 130 million or something?
I have no clue.
Something like that.
I think Trump got like 75 million and she got, I don't know, what, like 60 million or 65 or 70 million. I don't even know what the hell those numbers are, but one guy's vote's really going to swing the whole election. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Are we ever going to get over that?
I think we're decided no.
Can you raise Mom's mic?
I'm sorry. I was just looking at. I was trying to find something interesting from.
Your mic is still very low, even when you're talking into it.
It's not, her mic is higher than mine.
Well, it's too low.
Hot.
That's as high as it can go.
Yep, that's as high as it can go.
I'd say your gain's a little low, but that's fine.
My gain.
But the gain, it's literally it will not move any further up.
Yep, he's got it maxed out.
That's not the gain. That would be
what's the gain? Oh, this is the gain on
knob
this little
thing.
That thing.
How about this? Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Is that better?
Okay, keep going.
Is that better? How about now?
I'd say that's fine, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
I'll
we're
be
all
down
set.
there in 4 months. I can fix it then.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be
No.
4 months it
problem.
can be fixed.
4 months. We can get her all straightened out and taken care of. So, in any case, so the Jelly Roll thing, he cannot vote because he's a felon. But I'd like to ask that question again. Really, one person's vote's going to change everything.
Well, my question is, who is Jelly Roll?
He's a singer. He weighs about 500 pounds. Big, giant guy. He's got tattoos on every inch of his face and body and all the rest of it. He's a very nice guy, from what I understand. I've never met him, but I heard he's a really, really good guy. So, God bless him. But are people ever going to get over the fact that because your person didn't win, we should all be pissed off? It's like, relax. I've voted for winners. I voted for losers. Calm down. I did not get to vote in this election because they never sent me my ballot. So I didn't even vote in the election. So you can't blame me for anything.
Yep.
Who's blaming you?
I'm sure some people.
Yeah,
I
I've
wouldn't
never
doubt it.
seen this person. Country star, huh?
He's a country star, yeah.
Not familiar
Yeah,
with him.
he made some sort of splash, and then he made some big announcement that he was going off Twitter because it was too conservative or something. So I mean, he's done all he can. It's really sad that you can't just sing.
Yeah, just sing. That'll be
You
good.
can't just act. You can't just sell a bicycle. You can't. I mean, they politicize
Everything.
tiny aspect of the world, and I think it's very stressful on people.
I do too.
And I just don't think it's fair, and I think they should stop. Because and people need to stop. People need to stop pointing fingers at each other. I think if the average everyday American just said, you know what? I'm not going to be involved in all of this cancel culture and all of this garbage. I'm just going to live my life.
Yeah,
We've had an election. It's going to be what it's going to be. He's going to do what he's going to do. Let's just live our lives. Stop trying to make everybody miserable by, yelling and screaming and tantruming about every frickin' little thing.
Yep.
And if the average everyday American just stops participating, then the politicians are going to look even more unhinged than they already are. And they're pretty darn unhinged.
Well, I think we're already trending in that direction.
You think so?
I think the whole, Twitter do your thing movement, I think that's not nearly as big as it used to be. I think people are, For a while there, a lot of people were in denial about cancel culture being a real thing, and
Oh my God, it was terrible.
even though all we're taught growing up is, like the old timey cancel culture and how horrible that was, but no, it couldn't possibly happen today.
Well,
But I think people are starting to realize that yes, it can happen today, and it is, and they're
Yes.
starting to realize that destroying someone's life because he said something you didn't like 20 years ago is not a whole lot different than running someone out of town because they're the wrong religion.
Yeah, or skin color.
Yep.
Or whatever. Yeah.
That's true. You're absolutely right about that.
Well, I hope so. I hope that Twitter starts becoming more of a vehicle for having a good conversation about like all of this health stuff that they're trying to do, and all of these things that they're trying to save money on, as far as government waste. I mean, I think it's been pointed out and pointed out and pointed out for years and years and years, and in Minnesota too, but nothing has changed. So I think it's time for it to be like in a positive direction, because government waste isn't good for anybody
No.
except for whoever's doing the money laundering and putting it in their pockets. So once we stop that, everybody will be better off. The national debt will go down. All good things can happen from that. And, and I hope that RFK Jr. can get some of this stuff done with Make America Healthy Again, because there is some sort of a problem. If you see the scales and just the cancers that people are having just in the last 5 to 6 years, it's absolutely mind-blowing. And how many young women are getting breast cancer in their 30s, and that used to be a rarity. Now it's fairly common. And this thyroid cancer, people didn't have thyroid cancer when I was growing up in their 20s and 30s.
No.
Did you ever know anybody?
Nope.
So, I mean, I think something might be linked, and maybe we can start having conversations without screaming and yelling and carrying on. I don't know if it's possible. Maybe we've just become a bunch of screaming memes that just, belong to a cult and can't get out of it. I don't know.
A lot of people are, yes.
But, those people, like I said, that unhinged, like Twitter, I always enjoyed Twitter because a lot of the doctors who were canceled during COVID, as soon as Elon Musk bought it, they had a voice again.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff that they talk about, like the ivermectin and all the stuff that we were told was, wasn't effective, that it is effective. And why the government would suppress that, it's hard to understand. That kind of stuff I think Twitter is really good at. Yes, there are the crazy Twitter people that have to call everybody horrible names and, carry on and tantrum about all this kind of stuff. But you can mute those people and you can not follow them, and you can make Twitter sort of what you want, in my opinion. So I think it is going to morph into something else now that we've, moved on past. I mean, the election's done, and there's nothing they can do about it other than start lawfare again, which a lot of people are fearful that they're just going to start that up again.
Well, I will tell you, the biggest problem we have in this country and probably the world is our education system. They're no longer educating people. They're shoving their personal ideas down your throat.
Well, that was another thing that Twitter definitely was exposing, was all of these teachers that would say on their Facebook pages, we should kill them.
I know.
They're
It's
the
like,
worst.
what?
I mean, just the worst scum in the whole world. It's like, man, you've got people that are Republicans in your school system, and yet
know.
you're threatening to kill people's parents. I mean, it's just, the unhinged people, I think, have got to somehow be looked into or something, because how far does it take for just to scream and yell that you're going to kill somebody on Facebook to actually doing something?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a lot of people won't ever do anything, but some people will if they're pushed enough.
Well, they're stupid.
Well, they get into
get
that
talked
little
into it.
cult
Yep.
mentality, and they just start, we've got to do this. We must kill people that didn't vote our way, or, bad things are going to happen. That kind of crazy, I think, does need to be off social media. They just need to stop.
I agree.
That needs to stop, no matter what side of your voting record
It's
you're
all
on.
true. Who was the comedian that came up with a great idea? He said, just to piss off all these food people and all the rest of it, this year he's going to have a turkey for Thanksgiving, but he's going to fill it up with Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops and a turkey.
Well,
there you go.
There was a I don't know, about a couple of weeks ago, somebody posted that RFK Jr. is nuts because he's saying that we have chemicals and things in our. I think it was a news outlet. You can probably find it, Andy. He said Fruit Loops in America are basically the same thing as they are in Canada. And
except they're not.
But the article, after saying they're the same, RFK's crazy, it says, it didn't say, it didn't come to a realization. It said the only differences is that the Fruit Loops in Canada are colored with natural coloring.
Yep.
And don't contain like 3, chemicals.
Yeah, Canadian Fruit Loops, the difference is they use carrot juice and watermelon juice.
Yeah.
American Fruit Loops use red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and blue 1.
Yeah. So the article contradicted itself.
Well, that's what the fact checks do, is they'll find some like pedantic way that they can technically be correct. And then they'll say, oh, false, he's a liar, he's wrong. And then buried way down at the end, they're like, well, here's the facts, but no one's going to read this and we know it.
Well, that's true, because most people just do go on the inflammatory headlines or whatever. So is Kostaki here? I see him in the chat.
He is.
There he is.
Morning.
Speaking of Fruit Loops, ha ha.
Oh,
Nice.
There you go. And
Nice.
as we were just saying, I don't know if you heard this earlier, but we're just telling people to stay away from Greek food because it's
Is that
just
right?
not healthy.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Greek food's probably some of the healthiest food,
Probably
right?
is.
Like
Yeah.
oily fish, sardines, and
Fruits and vegetables and
olive oil.
seafoods. Yeah,
good
absolutely.
stuff. Absolutely.
Some wine.
Some wine.
The Mediterranean diet.
What about some ouzo? Have you ever had ouzo?
Yeah,
course
not
it's
my
I've
favorite.
never had ouzo.
It's not.
What
great.
is it?
It's like sambuca.
Huh.
It's like grain alcohol meets black jelly beans. It's
What
not
do
really.
they make it out of, actually? Do you know?
I don't know.
Maybe they make it out of grain alcohol and black
'Cause
jelly
it's
beans.
kind of like an oily sort of liqueur, right?
It's
feels like
clear,
it's-
and
yeah,
then
but
you
it-
mix it with water, and it turns cloudy.
Oh, it's kind of
okay.
like absinthe. Absinthe does that. You
Yeah.
put water in it and it clouds
you-
up for some reason.
You only see like old guys sit around tavernas in the afternoon playing backgammon with their friends. We'll sip on ouzo and have like, olives and cheese and tomato plate kind of thing.
Sounds good to me.
100 cigarettes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that's changed a little bit, but not a lot.
Tom the other day ordered a macchiato, and they said, this is the traditional macchiato, which I didn't know what that meant because Starbucks or
Oh, it's just like a tiny
Caribou.
little bit of milk in it, I think.
yeah, it's like 5 shots of espresso,
Yep.
like the real kind.
Well, macchiato
And-
means marked. They literally just mark it with some milk, and that's
Yeah,
it.
and a little tiny bit of milk
A
foam
cream or
whatever.
foam or whatever. Yeah.
It's not the sugary 5,000 calorie thing that you get at
No,
Starbucks.
the Starbucks macchiato is not a macchiato.
No.
It's ouzo starts with grain alcohol, and then they add anise. That's it.
Anise.
It's grain
So the-
alcohol with anise in it, and sometimes other things like fennel and cardamom and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So there you
Kostaki,
go.
with the attitude I already have, how do you think I did with 4 shots of hard caffeine? How do you think my mood was after that?
Yeah, you get a little edgy.
Yes, I'm here to admit it.
Caffeine's like that, though. Sometimes I can drink like 3 cups of coffee and I'm absolutely fine. And sometimes
Yeah.
I drink 1 cup of coffee and I'm like completely wired and
Yeah, I'm
mad
not
for
gonna
no
sleep for
reason.
3
I don't
days.
understand.
Yeah.
Right.
why it
That's why I
does that.
generally avoid it, except in like I can have a Coke every like maybe twice a week. That's basically what I keep it to.
Yeah.
I don't do the hard stuff anymore.
Did they do that in Greece like they do in Italy? Those old guys just sitting there drinking that sludgy
Black coffee.
espresso.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
tiny little cups,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
they're like mud. Yeah.
How-
It's thick, yep.
Yeah. They
Well,
just
actually,
stand up.
The
drinking
amount
that
of
stuff.
caffeine is not actually any higher than a full cup of coffee because you drink so little of it.
Oh, really?
I mean, like, yeah, if you slam 12 of them, that's a whole lot of caffeine. But
Yeah, I
that
would say.
thick espresso stuff that you drink like 1 ounce of, it's got about the same amount of caffeine as 8 ounces of drip coffee.
Yeah, I have memories of watching my grandfather drink that stuff, and he would walk like the Tim Conway old man to the bakery.
Shuffle away.
He would shuffle to the bakery and get day old bread because it was
There you
half
go.
off.
Yep, cheap. Yep.
And he would soak it in the coffee.
Oh,
Huh.
Old Greek man. Yep.
I remember making a mistake when I was in Italy many, many years ago, having just ordering a regular coffee. I didn't say American coffee, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. It was so
Oh, God.
strong. I was like, oh my God, my gut. It was, I don't know how they sit there and drink all that all day. Maybe just get used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never been a caffeine guy. But my dad was always hypersensitive to caffeine, so I've always been a little like wary of it.
Yeah.
I have a very distinct memory of we were on a family trip driving from Atlanta down to South Florida. We stopped at a hotel in Ocala or something on the way, and my dad, who's super sensitive to caffeine, was up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, and was freaking out trying to figure out what happened. And he's digging through the garbage, and he's reading the can of Mellow Yellow to discover, much to his surprise,
Yep.
packed with caffeine.
Yep.
Isn't
drank the night
Mountain
before.
Dew?
Mountain Dew is
Mountain Dew's like even worse than a Coke, isn't it?
In terms of caffeine, I don't. You might be thinking of Surge. Remember Surge?
Oh,
the-
Surge,
I remember
yeah.
All those
Surge.
'90s kids would just drink so much Surge. Feed
Yeah,
the rush.
Yeah, that was the original, like those
Energy
power
drink
drinks.
almost, yeah.
Right.
It was marketed as like a super high caffeine, high sugar beverage that'll get you wired. So of course all the kids were like, "Hell yeah,
Yeah.
drink one of these, and I'm gonna play Mario Kart for the next 10 hours."
Yeah.
Jolt,
Jolt-
yeah, Jolt came after,
Jolt
and that
Cola, that was the
Jolt.
one I remember.
Oh,
Had a
Jolt.
lightning
Yeah.
bolt
Jolt.
on the can. Yeah.
was shaped like a battery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know
got
what's fun?
bad memories of Jolt.
What's funny about that is the first time I ever saw that, a guy was coming out of a convenience store and he had a can of Jolt in his hand. And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "It's Jolt. It jazzes you." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Sir, I don't think you need it.
Jazzes, yeah.
Apparently, I think you've already had a couple. It's
Believe you've been pre-jazzed.
honest to God, no doubt about it. No question about God. I just realized something, and I haven't been thinking about this a lot. And actually, it was on the 22nd, not the 26th, which is what it is today. Do you know that JFK's assassination was what now? 60 some years ago.
Is that
It
right?
was a long time ago, yeah.
61 years ago, is that right? Because
That
let's see.
sounds about right. It feels like ancient history to me. I was born in '86, and it's like
Oh, yeah, it would be
about
ancient history.
cavemen beating each other with clubs.
He was shot in 1967. I know that. So you got 33 plus those what?
He was shot in '63.
60? Oh, 63. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that
it's
would make sense. Yes.
61 years on the
61
22nd.
years. It's been
Wow.
61 years since he was assassinated. I still can't believe they assassinated that guy. Knowing that his family was even in the mafia might have had something to do with it. Did they ever prove who shot him?
Well, they say it was Lee Harvey Oswald, right?
Yeah, but I
Oh,
don't
no,
know.
everyone's saying it's the CIA did it.
Well, but that's the official killer is Lee Harvey Oswald,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Who was-
but it.
Or is that the
yes.
Lincoln guy?
No,
No,
you got it.
No, you got
Okay.
it.
He was assassinated then by Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby.
Right. From the
Yep.
school book depository. And
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Repository.
School
And of course, I
depository.
know all this because of The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. What? Why The Simpsons?
Well, Homer was going through like a conspiracy phase.
Oh,
And he
God.
thought he had everything figured out. He was like, he figured out that Lee Harvey Oswald's motive was that he could steal the Jack Ruby. And Marge says, "Jack Ruby's a person." And he goes, "Oh."
What a great show that is. That
That's
is
good
a
writing.
wonderful show. Is it still around? I don't even know.
It's still going.
Is it really? God, it's
I
funny.
think it's on season 175.
That's probably true. It's about 200 years of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
whenever I hear a great line from that show, I always wonder, did Dana Gould write that? Did,
Yeah.
Usually,
You know, who else wrote for that show? Conan O'Brien? Did
Conan
he write
O'Brien
for
in
Did
the
he
very
really?
early, I think he was like season 1 and 2.
it? Oh.
God. Back
Some
when things
great-
used to be funny and you didn't used to piss everybody off by being funny. I just love
Conan
it.
O'Brien was one of the guys on the show about Elvis
Yes.
that we just
Yep.
watched, which was
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
It
I don't
was
know why
good.
Conan O'Brien was.
I guess he was such a huge fan.
an expert on Elvis, but yeah.
I guess, I don't know, the world has changed quite a bit. That's all I know. We now do things like talk about sports on morning shows. What about that segue?
Very nice.
Yay.
I'll pick it up. The week started in football on Thursday with one of those beautiful snow games. Oh, it was cool to see. The game was so white it bought a Prius.
Uh-oh.
It was so white it asked to see the manager. You see what we're doing here? That game came with a side of ranch dressing. It was super white.
It was very white.
It's on a waiting list to buy a Cybertruck. It was when it has sex, it plays a John Tesh CD. It was super white.
Oh, God. Is he
It owns
still on the
John
radio?
Tesh. Wow, that's an
John
obscure reference.
John Tesh is it obscure now, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was obscure when he was like fairly famous.
Yeah. Oh,
The New York Giants released Daniel Jones. They make it sound like they drove out in the country and let him out of the car and drove away. You know, like
Oh, poor
we
Buck.
released him to the wild.
you can play with all the other football players in a field now.
Yeah, with all the other second-rate quarterbacks. You go over here now. After the game, Giants star Malik Neighbors called the Giants soft as F. Like soft as F. I don't think he's doing it right.
You might be right.
You could take a pill for that, I hear.
That's what I hear.
Giants 0-6 at home. Do not have a home win. P. Diddy has a better record at home this year.
Uh-oh.
Macaulay Culkin has a better record at home. He's 2-0.
Oh, poor kid.
Home alone, everybody.
Home alone.
Yeah, there you go.
As far as road records go, the Jaguars are 0-6 on the road. God. Possums have a better road record.
Thank you. Oh, because he get hit by a car,
Yeah,
too? Is that
yeah.
what we're trying to imply?
Armadillos. Yeah.
Yes.
Tiger Woods has a better record on the road.
That's probably not true.
They had a couple of high profile. Thanksgiving Day features Giants Cowboys. Yikes. Just to have something else to do. You might want to start a political fight with your family.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing it. There's no
this is the
question
year.
about that. Everybody now is fighting with their family over politics, which I find to be absolutely ridiculous.
It's funny, though.
It is funny, yes, that's true.
As an outsider,
Yeah. Yeah, if you could stay out of it, it's hilarious. The early Thanksgiving game, Lions-Bears. The Lions are going to run up the score on the Bears like Steve Spurrier is worried about the coaches poll. It's going to be crazy.
That's kind of an inside deal.
That's a bit of obscure. Yeah. If
Yeah, a
John
little
Tesh
bit.
was obscure.
Yeah.
you just Google this name.
Spur-
Football guy. Okay.
Back in the day, he would crush these little schools because he cared about the rankings and the polls.
Yep.
He was famous for running up the score to 50-7 or whatever. The night game could be good. Tua said he's excited to kill the narratives. I'm like, great. Just don't kill any neurons. We're worried about you, Tua. Be careful out there.
It's true.
Tua Tagovailoa, 0-7 in games under 40 degrees. He's playing in Green Bay at night, late November.
Ooh.
Yeah. He lives in Miami. I'm like, well, where's he from? Probably some frigid, tough, blue-collar town. No, Hawaii? Yeah, he's good.
I didn't know that they had stats with weather.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like, they handicap horses with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'd say about once a year there's some like kind of a, story that rises to the top on this front. There's some kind of somebody plays badly at primetime games, or there's some when it's snowing, this guy's terrible. There's always some narrative. The bad news, Gardner Minshew broke his collarbone. The good news, because it's this week, he gets to make a wish. That's nice. Dolphins embarrassed the Patriots. I love that the Patriots lose big. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Their Minutemen mascots tried to kill themselves. The problem is when you put the end of a musket in your mouth, you can't reach the trigger. So
That's true.
You gotta get like a string.
yeah, that's right. You got to rig it up. You got to have your friends shoot you.
It's not worth it.
Something
So
different.
who has a shot at the playoffs now?
Well, I feel like there's like 6 or 7 teams that are
Still that many?
really good that have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And then there's, whatever, a lot of teams that make the playoffs now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's 14. Is that right, Tom? It's 7 on each
14?
side.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's
Isn't that like
true.
half the league?
Yeah, it's almost half. It's 32 teams, so
Huh.
it's pretty close.
Like hockey.
They expanded it 2 or 3 years ago. They added 2 more teams.
But yeah, they keep that's the new thing is changing the rules of games. Like baseball changed a bunch of their rules recently too.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball hates that. They're all about stats. Right?
Yep, sure are.
They especially hate change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in the old days, 2 teams per conference would get a bye, and now it's just 1 because it's 7 teams on a side. So 1 team gets a bye and the other 6 play. And then they play it down. I like that your team is still alive late in the process, but 14 seems like too many.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a big percentage of the field.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys won this week, but it was a fluke fest. They're not a steady team. The Texas prison system has more consistent execution. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, see? Oh, he's got. Well, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's right. You grabbed the collar on some of these kind of jokes.
You got Rodney going.
Aaron Rodgers' future with the New York Jets is in question now.
Really?
Yeah. New York might have to open one of those unemployment windows for former franchise quarterbacks. It's getting bad. I get it. As a comedian, I know some people who moved to New York, struggled for 2 years, then left. I get it, Aaron. It could
Yeah,
happen.
true. Is he just really not doing well at all?
It's not good. No, he's
That's what I
he's
hear.
got a worse winning percentage than either of the prior 2 quarterbacks who were marked as giant failures. Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold, who now is wearing purple and doing great.
But he'll be out of here by the end of this year too. There's no way they're keeping him.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
Yep.
that he played his way into being expensive. I think for next season. We'll see.
Probably. Yep.
Andy Reid now 3rd on the list, 19 seasons with 10 or more wins. He's still number 1 in commercials that explain insurance bundling with chicken nuggets.
Number 1, baby.
Number 1. I think he's also the only coach to actually call plays from a Waffle House menu.
Oh, I love Waffle House.
Scattered, smothered, and covered. On 2. All right. Here's the closer. C.J. Stroud accidentally ran out of the back of the end zone, and they called it pulling a Dan Orlovsky. That's kind of rude to Dan, right? He made one mistake in his life.
In his life.
I guess it's better than pulling a Louis C.K. You don't want to do that in the end zone.
Oh.
What
Am I
is he
right,
doing
everybody?
Boy, he's still just as off the radar, isn't he?
Well, I think he's doing fine with his fan base.
He's doing fine, but yeah, it didn't help his career, that's for sure.
He certainly can't make movies and television shows,
No.
but stand-up wise, he'll be fine.
I mean, like if I were to be offered his financial success, I'd take it.
Yeah. I would happily trade.
Yeah, I'm sure
his-
he's still got plenty of millions
Yeah,
to
right.
cry to sleep on.
And to his credit, he built a machine where he can succeed without show business.
Yeah.
Right. He had this whole sort of scheme to sell his own tickets and sell his own specials on his own website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this was all before the tough times.
Before
The
cuffing the
hard
carrot?
Yes, it was before the year cancellation or whatever it was. So he's sort of singularly set to continue to be okay, even if show business turns their backs on him.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Oprah Winfrey school of success. Own everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let
Yep.
anybody have
Yep.
your.
What's the thing? Your fame can go away overnight. You could be on top of the world, biggest thing in the universe. Next week, no one cares anymore.
That's
Right.
true.
And you got to get prepared for that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I still want to be Oprah. Just say hello and you get $2 million for it.
Yeah, really. A handshake, that'll be $100,000.
A hug. That's
If I have to say your
$500,000,000.
name, that's an additional $250.
Yup.
How much is my name?
I know.
Oh my God,
Wow,
X
you're
billion.
50,000 per letter. So let me think. Let me get my calculator out.
God,
Where's
I
the
know,
exponent button?
I know you did your closer already, and I obviously can't say who it is, and it doesn't really matter. But I did hear a guy who lost $500 million on an investment. $500 million.
What?
I was hearing a guy talking about he lost $500 million on an investment. And the guy said, "Oh my God, how are you going to do it?" And he goes, "It's only $500 million. This guy's worth $23 billion."
Oh, wow.
He goes, "Oh,
Wow.
that's a lot of money, man."
Can you imagine thinking that way? It's only $500 million.
See, that's our problem. We think small.
We're
Let's
thinking
start
too
thinking
small.
big.
That is our problem.
We do have to start thinking big, no doubt about it. No question. Well, Kostaki, what are you looking at for Thanksgiving?
I've got a great run of things. Last night we did the lighting of the Christmas tree.
Yeah, we did ours recently too.
Not ours. We went to the local
Oh.
place with the
Wow.
100-foot tree, and
That
the
early?
Nice.
Lance
Pretty.
Bass was hosting a bunch of singers, and
There you go.
they had a drone show, and it was
Wow.
cool. It was cool. So that was last night. Today is Moana
Yep,
2. with the
Moana
little
2.
one.
Moana too, that's
Oh,
right.
boy. That's gonna be
We're gonna
huge.
order. We're gonna do archery. We're gonna go to the grocery store and get the ingredients to make my mom's stuffing for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And then Thursday, how about this for a plug? My new album drops. It's called "Playing in Peoria." Comes out Thanksgiving Day.
Wow. Good
that's
for you.
wonderful. Is that, well, stores are open on Thanksgiving because it kicks off the Christmas shopping season, right?
I think so. Yeah. Of course,
think that's
grocery
true.
stores are going nuts this week.
Black
yeah.
Right.
Friday is Friday
Right.
after Thanksgiving.
And there's a
so-
game.
That's
There's
right.
games, football games Thursday. And then Friday there's a Black Friday game, and I'll be with the kiddos all weekend. It's gonna be fun.
That's wonderful. That is great, spending time with your family, because Catherine and I won't be doing it, but, you know.
My
don't worry
brother's
about
coming
us.
down. Some families.
Hey,
Come.
your
Yeah.
brother's coming
There you
down.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at that phase where everyone's everywhere, and it is what it is.
It is what's funny about that is my grandparents lived out like 120 miles north of us, and I saw them like twice a year. And they only lived 120 miles away. That's
Yeah, I
a
drive
little
every
odd.
2 days. I drive that much, so
Well, your mother didn't drive a car.
No, she didn't
so
drive at
if
all.
that doesn't help.
No.
It
We
does
got a
not help.
horse. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh.
I can't even imagine my mother on a horse. I'm sorry.
Or in a sleigh.
Picturing toots in a sleigh.
Or walking on grass.
or walking on grass for that matter. Yes, you're absolutely right.
She was an indoor cat all the
Not a
way.
lot of nature. Like,
She probably have about 17 Winstons while she's walking.
Yeah.
That's probably true. All right, Pally, we'll have a magnificent Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Happy holidays, guys. We'll talk to
Happy
you soon.
holidays, Kostaki.
all right.
Bye.
Kostaki Economopoulos, ladies and gentlemen. So, God, I can't believe that. What did you say it was, 61 years since he was
Yep.
been assassinated?
On the
Gee,
22nd.
I just can't believe that. Man.
Now, it is interesting how everything morphs into, the holidays morph into such fractured things when your children
Yep.
grow up and get married,
Yeah.
because there's
No,
so
that's how
many
it goes.
other.
You got the new family, I got
Well,
to
and like
merge
in your-
families, and
yeah,
it's
and
just
like your instance, you've got your wife has divorced parents, so you've
Yep,
got
so
two
that's-
separate holidays
we
right
got
there. What do
3
you-
parent units
Yeah,
plus
right,
our family.
right.
And I mean, for a while it was also grandparents, but not so much anymore.
Right.
We got one grandparent left among us.
Yeah, it just, I don't know how many people who say, oh, yeah, we had Thanksgiving in, June, because we couldn't
Yeah.
we could not get a date together with everybody. I mean,
It's
it
true.
just gets to be, you have to stay flexible when your children have children and in-laws.
God, I just got a text message on my phone from a guy who said, he was talking about, families and, the birthdays and all that regular stuff. He, his wife, and their 2 children were all born on the same date.
Wow.
Huh.
I mean, what are the odds of that happening? That you're all born on the
You have
same
to
date?
plan the kids.
Well, nonetheless.
I guess.
I
but
mean,
still.
well, yeah, you can't you can't guarantee it, but there's no way they didn't do that on purpose.
Well, it's like your son stole my birthday on purpose. He did it on purpose,
Yeah,
even
it's not
before
like
he
he
was
was-
conceived.
It's not like he was cesarean or anything. Like you could plan it. He
No.
came when he
He
was
did.
ready to come out. So
Yeah, he was a week and a half early, so
yeah.
Stole my birthday. That's all I'm
just- and
saying.
I think that's just so amazing. Of course, he was born on your birthday.
yep. Of
Just
course.
so strange.
That's just a given.
Yeah.
I suppose that's true. So what else is new in the news? Anything good? We already talked about Jelly Roll and the fact that he can't vote anymore because he's a felon for the rest of his life.
Well, it depends on the state.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
I did
think
not
in
know
Minnesota you can.
You can,
Or at
yes.
least they've been pushing
that. In
for
Minnesota, you can do
Yeah,
anything
as
you
of I
want,
think
can't you?
last year you can, because of
Yeah.
Oh, it's
course.
only of last year.
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah,
very
when
recent.
when Waltz did that midnight, did everything that he ever wanted to do without, any oversight. That was one of the things I believe that he did.
I got to be honest with you. Down here, I do get, schmoozing with people and this, that, and the other thing. They always say, "How the hell did you live there with that guy as your governor?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't follow local politics too
Hasn't
much. I
been
don't
great.
care. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole. They're talking about running him for president.
He would never succeed.
No
No one
way
would vote
he'd
for him.
win. Nope.
No, I think that the expose on all of his strange little lies and his extreme. I mean, he's very radical. He's not just like left or just Democrat.
Oh, no, he's way-
extreme.
And by the way, he was a moderate until he found out there was a lot of money in being radical.
Really, I didn't
Oh
know
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. He was very moderate, and then all of a sudden you found out left or right. If you get really nuts in one extreme, you'll make a lot more money as a
Yep.
politician.
The more you're in the news, the more you're going to get
Well,
funding.
It's so
true.
sad and very sad.
I cannot see him doing well. I really can't.
Well, they said also it was, I don't remember, somebody told me about it. I didn't see it, but it was on the news too, that Kamala Harris will probably run for governor of California because she could never, ever win a national election again.
I don't know.
Or I shouldn't say again, she never has.
I just would like to take a rest from all presidential candidates. I just think that I know that they have to strategize and plan, and it's the biggest thing in the world to political insiders and stuff. But
Right.
for me, I'm like, okay, we had a very, very emotional country. Donald Trump got elected. People are shaving their heads and acting like maniacs and just nuts about it. Let's just take a pause about who's going to be running in 4 years. Can we just have 2 years without
let's
even
have a- let's
thinking
have a
about who's
bye.
running?
Right, right.
Please,
There you go.
can we just be left alone for a minute?
What's so funny about that? I know George Bush, not George. What was his dad?
HW and there's W.
There's George W. Bush. He was always looked at it. Oh, he's not a very good president. People are telling me now, God, I wish he was still
I know.
president. I mean, like the last 5 or 6 of them have not been the best.
No.
I don't know. They get very, very extreme positions. People are they teaching extremity now in schools? You have to you got to go all the way or you can't be involved in it at all.
They have been doing that for a long time.
There was an
Jesus.
article about how a lot of kids from the Northeast are now going to Southern colleges because they want an actual real college experience. They don't want
yeah.
to have to join a band of
Yep.
extremist activists to make their teachers happy. I think that's very telling. When you don't even want to go to one of your Ivy League schools, which used to be like basically licensed to make hundreds of millions of dollars in some hedge fund, because if you were a Harvard grad, you just got in, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or if you wanted to be a politician, you just got in just because you went to that school. Now people are like, it's just not worth it. If I have to be a complete psychopath, to get in school and to make it through school, I don't even want to do it. They just want to be able to go enjoy some football, play beer pong, and be left alone.
That's it. Have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fun's not
Maybe
too big
learn
on
some
that.
stuff in between.
Fun is not a big part of the agenda anymore. I did see that places like Walmart have stepped up and said no more DEI for us. It's not going to happen.
That was a very funny thing this morning.
What?
About that?
Oh, I didn't hear it.
The Minnesota. Let me see if I can find the Minnesota KSTP. I think headline about it. Let me see. Talk amongst yourselves.
So Andy, how's it
Oh, okay.
going? I like your shirt.
Okay, so The Fox News said, woke woes, Walmart joins Ford, John Deere, Toyota, and other major companies in ditching controversial DEI initiatives.
Yep.
KSTP says Walmart, the world's largest retailer, is rolling back its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, joining a list of major corporations that have been under pressure by conservative activists.
Oh my God! Yeah, you always got to put a spin on it, don't you?
But I mean, but that's what in Minnesota, you're not going to get anything except for that.
That's correct.
Headline.
You're not going to get the truth.
Nobody's ever
Nope.
going to see another even take on it.
Nope.
They're just not going to.
Nope.
So it's understandable why people that live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the metropolitan areas feel the way they do, because that's just they're conditioned to think this way, and nobody ever says anything in a different way.
Can they just leave it alone? That's the part I don't get. Calm down, for God's sake. Has any governor ever completely destroyed a state in America?
There's
Well,
there's
I
been some
mean,
real
a lot
bad
of people
ones.
are arguing about Minnesota because so many high earners have left, continue
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
leave.
that's true. Yeah.
The taxes are just going; they're nuts.
Somebody told me the state tax is now at almost 10%.
Well, in Minnesota, if you make over, I don't know what it is. If you make under a certain amount, it's hardly any tax, just like California. But if you
Right.
make over a certain amount, you're taxed to death. And property taxes are being raised every year, like
Yeah, they literally rise
double
every-
digit percentages. It's not just it used to be, wait, if your house is worth $100,000, they would tax it at about 70. Now
Right, yes,
now they tax it at $150,000 or $200,000, and people are just, I mean, it's 26% increase in a lot of areas. I know in our old city that we used to live in, Edina, Minnesota, it's raised 20%, and Edina taxes were already really high because the valuation is so high.
Right.
Minnesota's income tax caps out at 9.85.
985.
Yeah,
Is that
almost
the highest in the
10%.
country?
It
But
has to be.
what are the breakdowns on the income?
Let's see. We are the fifth highest after California.
Fifth highest at
California
10%.
and Hawaii makes sense because, of course,
Oh, I thought we were on par with New York and California now.
we are full percentage point above New York.
Above New York. And then also our property taxes are higher than almost anywhere
Let's see.
now
States
that
with the
they've raised
highest
them.
property tax. Highest to lowest. Here we go. Who's at the top? Oh, look, there's Hawaii again.
Well,
Where's
you
Hawaii?
got to look at. I don't think 2024 stats are even out, but I know they raised it up a lot this year.
Well, as of whenever this was made,
2025.
we're actually pretty low. We're number 33.
For property tax?
Or
I don't
wait.
think that's true anymore.
Oh, wait. This is lowest to highest. So we're 33rd highest, which still isn't that bad.
I think we're higher than
Two-thirds
that
up.
now.
Yeah, we're
And sales
higher.
Well,
tax,
ours
we've
is
gone way
listed
up.
as 1.11 for the effective tax rate.
Well, not in the cities, not in Hennepin County.
Well, that's the other thing is we have cities, we have counties, and all of them can or cannot have tax if they don't feel like it.
Right. But if you're talking
Um,
about living in the metropolitan area, our sales tax has gone crazy. City taxes have gone crazy. Everything's really high.
Well, at least if you go to dinner with two people, it's only $150, so that's good. Yeah. Honest to God. Minnesota, you do pay for a lot. Well, I will tell you, it's no better than that in West Palm Beach. In Palm Beach, it's very expensive.
Once again, we live in a city, and cities always seem
Right.
to have an extra little
Right.
tax added on for living
Yes,
in
they
the
do.
city, which I was like, wait a minute. If you want everybody vertical living in your 15-minute cities, why are we taxed higher than everybody else? It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
You get a lot more. You get actually, they plow the snow and they sweep the streets, and
And in Florida, you don't have a personal income tax at all. You don't have
No.
any death taxes. You don't have any inheritance taxes. You don't have any of that kind of stuff at all. So you don't even file a tax return to the state of Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
1.02% for Minnesota's state average for property tax, but Hennepin County's is 1.32. So that's 30% higher than the state
thought it
average
was
right
higher.
there for Hennepin County.
Because a lot of municipalities are over 2% now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But you do get stuck with the sales tax here because tourists
Yep.
come and they pay a lot of sales tax and they pay a lot for gas tax because they're driving around Florida, and that's
Yep.
one of the reasons why you don't have state income tax here. So
There you go.
yes,
Yeah,
you do get
Florida's
kinda stuck.
Florida's got to have the highest amount of tourists per year in the entire country.
Boy, I would think so.
I would
yeah.
think so with Disney World, and also just the beaches. People love to come for the warm weather and the beaches.
All right, let us talk about a positivity here, and that would be the Thanksgiving holiday, which comes up on Thursday. What plans do you have, Andy?
We're just gonna go over to Melissa's mom's.
You're going to let Melissa's mom's hang out there for a
Why
while.
not?
Is everybody going over to her house? Is that what the whole family's going over there?
I mean, yeah, as it were.
Well, Melissa's dad isn't going.
No.
I wouldn't guess.
Or he's not going to be there? Okay.
No.
He's got a different deal.
So do you do another Thanksgiving with him?
I mean, Thanksgiving we're gonna be pretty casual with this year. I mean, we're just gonna go over there and eat a chicken. Basically, it's
Not even a turkey, going chicken?
not a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's Christmas that's the big deal.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's when you go see everybody. There's like 4 different families we're gonna go see, and that's
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. It's just like we got a toddler and a baby. It's a holiday that we don't care that much about, so it's like just make it easier on ourselves.
Right. That
So-
makes sense.
Does Ethan understand what a big deal it is to him? Does he get it?
No,
No, doesn't care.
I don't think he even knows it is Thanksgiving.
I do love it now. Whenever we're on the phone, Andy will go, Ethan, say hi to Bop Bop. No.
No, I don't want to.
And he does this cute. He does
Hey,
this
does
like
he-
Yep,
flirty, shy thing with
he
his
does.
shoulder.
Only to you though.
So cute.
It is the best. No, what a great kid. So how's that doing? So you got a newborn, you got a 3-year-old. I mean, Andy, has it hit you hard how important that all is and how wonderful it all is to have a family like that?
Well, yeah, definitely. Our lives have changed quite a bit.
Yep.
For the better.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
it's
the
hard
great
to
thing.
remember before
it is.
children at all. It's like, what did I do with all my time?
I know.
Yeah. But it's just so great having little kids around. And then, well, see, that's the one thing I will warn you about, Andy, is that, at least in my mind, and I think in some ways in Mom's mind too, you and Alex will always be little kids to me. I don't care how old you get.
In a way.
In a way.
In a
yeah.
way.
That's very, very true.
Yeah,
But
I
that's-
mean, it makes sense. The child years are probably the most memorable years, so it's what you know,
Yes.
think about most.
That's true.
Yep, Alex learning how to dance and you arguing with your mother. That was your whole childhood.
Just not speaking to me for like a whole year. I got some grunts. I had to say, Tom, tell Andy to do this because he just grunts at me and runs off.
You did. You grunted at her for
Yeah,
a
you
long
were-
time.
yeah,
It was
you were.
hilarious.
Always fun.
That's got to be. I mean, that's obviously a very, very difficult thing when that comes along. Whether I lost a brother and my mother died and all the rest of that. That's tough. Those Thanksgivings and Christmases after the very same year when you lose a parent or a sibling or whatever. That's
Yeah.
tough, man. That first Thanksgiving after that stuff, and Christmas is even worse, I guess. But
You know, like I said, we're down to one grandparent between us. You start with 8 as a couple, and because everyone's got 4.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
yep. And
So
then
you're talking about
7,
your
8,
grandparents.
No, I'm talking about both of ours.
No, but I mean,
So
you
I had
don't have
4.
any.
That's right. I don't have a single one. The only one that's left alive is Melissa's dad's mom.
Really? She's the
Yep.
only one left.
Only one left.
How old is she?
Is that the one that lives in North Dakota?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's, I don't know how old she is. Late 70s, I think, maybe early 80s.
That's all?
I don't know. Yeah,
Probably
that
more
family
than
had kids relatively young.
It's not that
They
common
didn't
for
wait till
people
they
in
were
their 30s to
35
have
like we did.
grandparents around
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
No, it's not.
I mean, I remember I was one of the only people I knew that had a parent alive still.
Really?
Most people were like, yeah, gone for, died
Really?
in their 60s.
Well, your dad lived to be a million, though. Both of your parents did. So
I know.
it's-
That's what I'm talking about.
most
I mean,
people. I mean, if your dad, if your parents had lived to be the national average, your dad would have died almost 25 years ago.
Right.
Think about
Yeah,
that.
true. Is the average age of death now is what, 72, I think?
74, I
Oh, it's
think.
74?
After COVID, it went down a little bit because
Yeah,
of
it
all
did.
that
All the old
long-term
people
care
died? Yeah.
facility, horrible stuff that governors like Walz did.
It's 77 and a half.
Oh, is it really?
So actually, it's still pretty high. It's
That is
73 and a
pretty
half
high.
for men, 79 and a half for women.
Oh, 73 and a half for men.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That does make sense.
But the
Can I
gap
hang
is
on for 14 more years?
the gap is closing largely because we haven't had a draft in a while.
Oh,
Those drafts really drop the male life expectancy.
Oh, yeah, they
sure
all
do.
end up getting.
Mm-hmm.
They never did get to the point where they started drafting women, did they? It was always
No,
men.
men, women have
No.
never been drafted. I
Never
don't
been
think
drafted. I didn't think
anywhere
so.
in history.
Oh, anywhere on the planet?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, probably not. Maybe that is
Maybe
true.
Korea.
I don't know. There's probably a lot of women that want to be included in the draft nowadays.
I don't know why you'd
It's
want
only
that.
fair. I don't know. There's Pete Hegseth. He's up for something in the military
Yeah,
or something.
he is.
I don't know. Some big,
Secretary of Defense, I think.
and he has said out loud he does not want women in combat.
Yeah, he talks about that quite a bit.
And
Yep.
women are like losing. A lot of women are like, if I want to go into combat, why shouldn't I be able to go into combat? And I kind of agree. If you really want to go into combat,
Yeah,
Well,
go
but
ahead.
I mean, it's not so much about gender as it is ability. I mean, like, if you can't carry a wounded soldier out of the line of fire, you don't have a place on the battlefield.
well, that was also one of the things that they were talking about with the whole transgender
Right.
question in the military, because people who are transitioning and have transitioned, they are dependent on a massive amount of
They sure are.
hormones.
Yep.
And they have to have them every day forever.
Yeah. What
They
happens
can't
if you're
go off
stuck
of
in
it.
a bombed out building, under artillery fire for 3 months? It's like,
Well,
Right.
what, you just die?
That's the point, is that transgender people, no matter what they transition from into, they are disqualified
Yep.
from
Right.
going into battle and being stationed in these remote places because they cannot be guaranteed that they'll get their
Right.
medicine. And it's not just transgender people; it's
Well,
people
like
with
me.
diabetes. It's
If I
people with-
were younger, if I were young enough to be in the army, I would be disqualified because
Yeah.
if I were to go to some foreign country and there's an infrastructure collapse and I can't get my levothyroxine, I'm dead in like
exactly,
2 months.
Really?
exactly.
So they wouldn't want me on the front lines because I'd just be like the coma guy after a month and a half, and that's not great for unit cohesion.
Yeah, and that's the argument. It's like, so people are like, well, transgender people just shouldn't be serving in the military.
Yeah, if you're
Because-
dependent on a medication to survive or function, then you should not be in combat.
Because transgender people were going into the military because the military was paying for their transitioning.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
And
mean,
that's
like,
another
you
thing. It's
can
like,
be-
really?
Military is fine if you're going to be like in intelligence or something, I would argue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like people that,
But not combat, definitely not.
yeah, my brother Jeff, he wasn't disqualified for going over to Vietnam, but they had him working at a hospital in Texas as a X-ray tech.
Yeah.
They didn't want him over there; they wanted him here. So
Right.
I mean, a lot of people don't have to go overseas and still serve.
Right.
So yeah, there can be places, but combat is not one of them.
No, I mean, like, what happens if you get like super high up in the ranks? You're like, an 07 or something, and then you just like drop dead because you can't get your medication anymore.
Right.
Right.
There's a lot of people under you that are now completely, they don't have any structure. And that's a very bad thing. And even if you're, just you're a foot soldier, one guy who's unable to fight could turn the tide of battle.
Right.
That is going to do it for this rendition. We do not have any shows tomorrow. The morning show and the show will not be on. The Thanksgiving holiday, we get a 5-day Thanksgiving holiday.
Woot,
That's pretty
woot.
good.
Yeah, I'll be putting up a best of tomorrow at least, probably Friday as well. So if anyone has any very old episodes from anyone who's been listening for 11 years plus, if any of those people are still out
You have
there
any
and you have
faves?
any episodes that you haven't heard in a long, long time, just mention it on Facebook and we'll see what we can do.
All right. Andy, we'll talk to you before Thanksgiving, but that
Fine,
is
sir.
going to do it. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking